Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us once again for the 7th episode of the FreeFuse Sessions. Today, I have a good friend of mine, and one of the folks that I know is about empowering fellow entrepreneurs, Deb Small. She is the empowerment queen, as she has been known to be referred to as, and she also runs a education portal site called empowermentpoint.com. So, without further ado, and without me butchering the rest of that description, Deb, how about you go ahead and take it away?
Thank you so much. And thanks, Mike, for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. So Empowerment Point it's also in the last couple of days, some of my members have been calling it the Empowerment Point Exclusive Club, which is quite nice, which you're part of as well. So it's my way of bringing business global leaders around the world, business global leaders to business owners who need them, which I think is really, really important. It all started because when I had my last business, I made a lot of mistakes because we're an expert in our own area, but we can't be an expert in everything. So I looked around, and I was also screwed by a couple of so-called business experts. So I thought, if this is happening to me, this is happening to a number of other people as well, and I didn't want other business owners to go through what I went through. So I looked around for a place that had business experts in every area, had business foundations that you need, and I couldn't find it. So I decided to create it. So that's how empowermentpoint.com was born. So it's the umbrella over leading experts around the world, as well as networking groups, because I really believe that every business owner needs a community to be part of, but not every business owner knows where to find one. So business owners around the world can see your profiles. They also have blogs there. They can read and be educated. There's also videos, audios as well. And it's a one-stop shop to be able to seal any of their business gaps that they have.
And that was such a fantastic description of what you do. And, coming from, a place of understanding the early days of entrepreneurship, you hear so much about these stories of folks who just don't know what to do, don't have a support network, don't understand how to build themselves up. And, that's kind of the whole idea of Empowerment Point, right? It's a real idea of helping fellow entrepreneurs, helping them really grow themselves and just become better through the, help and sort of support of other folks. So, when you were sort of getting the ideas for Empowerment Point, and you have some of your own, obviously, stories that led up to it, what was the day that you came together and said, this is what needs to be? I saw this gap, exists. I'm ready to take the plunge. Because I think a lot of people are stuck by that analysis paralysis, right? Is this a worthy idea, right? Is this worthwhile for me to pursue? Do I think I can succeed? What can you tell folks who are maybe in that position that want to do something meaningful, but don't feel like they can get it accomplished?
First thing is, feeling that is totally normal, totally normal. We all go through it, and we also go through our ups and downs as well. There's still times that I find it hard to get out of bed. We still go through all of that. So all the emotions you feel are totally normal. For me, I was working my background is corporate and business training, and my last business was an online product business. And I got a bit bored of the product, and I really missed helping business owners. And when I was stuffing up, and when I got screwed by so-called business experts, I looked around first. So look around first. Are there businesses that do what you do? So I couldn't find any business that had all the foundations as well as business experts as well in all the different areas. So that's when I created it. So my first thing to say to people is, look around. Are there other businesses like yours? If there are other businesses like yours, what is it that you can do differently, or what is it that you can do better? What solutions can you give to the problems out there? Because what we're really doing is we're solving problems. So the problem that I saw is that business owners, we're expert in our own area, but we can't be an expert in everything. So we don't have a roadmap, which now I do. I'm a business strategist now who gives a roadmap of all the foundations of a business that you need. So have a look at what is your area of expertise and what do you solve. The other important thing is, whether you get a coach or a mentor or a strategist to help you, because when we start a business, we don't know all the different foundations that we need, which is why I created the 10-pillar business foundation roadmap, and also co-founded the Aussie Business Accelerator as well, which is 36 plus business experts going through every part of your business, is because of the fact that we don't know what we don't know usually until it's too late. So I want business owners to realize that what you're going through is normal, but get somebody else involved that's been through it before or can guide you with all the different things that you need to have in your business, because you don't want to find out the hard way, which is what I did.
And that's such a, great mode of thinking, I think, in general, right? And I think a lot of folks don't realize the value sometimes of, they think entrepreneurs, I feel like, are just kind of like this group of people that there's only this, they're only kind of like this type of person that sort of had those desires to build a business from birth, or, maybe they've always just had this idea in their mind. But I still think that even if your aim isn't to necessarily build a business, these ideas of understanding opportunities, understanding how to take action, towards them, understanding what is, something that you want to do measured against what already exists out there is such a valuable practice. And I would say the second item that I think that you mentioned, which is incredibly valuable, is finding that sense of mentorship, finding somebody who has been there, done that to where you want to go. And whether you ladder up by, helping someone get you to that first milestone, and, that's kind of like your mentor up to that point, and then you find someone who helps you get to the second milestone and the third. I feel like that was kind of the story that I've also experienced myself, where, I found mentors and things that, they had been there before. And what's so funny is, my own experience as being a PhD and now moving into the entrepreneurial world, all I ever learned was that I just didn't know as much as I thought I did. Right. And it was kind of that humbling experience. And I always joke that I don't know anything, but it's just kind of like that humbling
We learn every day of our
experience.
life. We learn every day of our life, and we will continue to the day we die.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so, one of the things that you mentioned was you put together this business accelerator, right? And you have 36 business experts. And, for some folks, that might seem like this daunting thing, but, what allowed you to build that network of folks, create that value for other people? And how did you get buy-in even from those people to want to help others and really believe in the vision that you cultivate?
Okay, so the first thing was, even years ago, before I had that last business, I knew that my purpose was to help other people and make a positive difference in other people's lives. That just came to me in a training session one day, and I knew that that was my purpose to do. Did I know how I was going to do it? No, not at all. And then with the Aussie Business Accelerator and with the Empowerment Point, what I did was, it started with the foundations of a business. So I went through and I wrote down, what are all the foundations that you need in a business? And then I went through and went, okay, so the first one is, one of the things is, and this is my number one, without this, nothing else works, which is you. So, to take care of your mindset, your health, and to self-develop yourself as well. So I had to find people in each area. The second pillar is business. So one of the things is looking at your business structure. So, a commercial lawyer, an accountant. So the one thing I've always done is, even since my early 20s, is I've always been a connector of people. I've always loved to build relationships with people. So people would ask me, do I know this person or do I know this person? So throughout my career, I've always built and nurtured great relationships with people that they've become good friends. So if you don't know somebody, somebody will know somebody. So for me, if I didn't know the right person, I knew people who would know the right person to fill the spot that I needed. And also too, in 2018, I sat down with one of Australia's top business strategists, with this Jeff Hetherington, which is now my partner with the Accelerator program. And we sat down and we went through everything. And so Jeff has not only become a good friend of mine, a partner of mine, also a mentor as well. And he's also a strategist too. So we really help each other out a lot with it. And he knows a lot of people too. So we really went through the list of picking the best people we knew for each part of the program. And yeah, and a lot of the people I'd already, either myself or himself, we'd already built great relationships with these people. So for someone else, I would say, look at your network of people and look at who knows who. Because if you don't know the right person for something you need, there's a really great chance that somebody in your network will know the right person. And if you don't know the right person, come to Empowerment Point, speak to me, make a Zoom meeting with me. I'm really happy to help people to find the right people, because there is nothing worse than utilizing the wrong people. And with Empowerment Point, I've been really picky with every person who's come in. They've got heart and soul. They really care about their clients, and they're really good at what they do. So I make sure that I'm very picky with who comes in. So that's what we're about. We're about helping business owners to find the right business experts to help them grow their business and to help fill any business gaps.
And that's why I've always appreciated about Empowerment Point, right? And all the values and, all the, sort of what you've been able to craft with the community of Empowerment Point. And, something that I always wanted to ask you in regards to that, right, was really when you were crafting out your vision of Empowerment Point, the purpose of it, the values of it, did you, have those things struck out in your mind, right, when you first started? And if so, for those people who want to build a thriving community and want to understand how best to build something meaningful for an audience of people that they want to serve, how might they go about the process, and where are some kind of like areas that you would recommend that, they could almost not, fast track the process, but, if there were some learnings that you had where you were, you felt like you made those mistakes, but you could go back and, kind of redo them this time, what advice would you give to someone else starting off their own community?
And I like that too. Let's go by my learnings, not by the things that I did, which is really good. I like that, which is true. So with my community, there's twofold. If you're going to build your community around you, or you're going to build a membership base. So building a community around you, you want to, for me, it was a sense of people. When I met people, I sensed what they were like. I sensed, that they had a really good heart, what they did. I had a look. So go to different networking groups. But don't just go to give your business card, swap business cards and say, thank you, or do you want to buy my stuff? It's not about buying your stuff. It's about building a relationship, because you can build a relationship with somebody that can last for years and years and years, and you end up referring people to each other left, right, and centre. So you can create business that way. You can collaborate with that person and create business that way as well. You can co-create down the track with that person and build business as well. So by networking, I'm going to take it one step back. Write down all the values that you have, because really your business's values is an extension of your values. So write down all the values that you have. And I didn't do this till about a few months ago. And I realized that, all the people that I've picked in Empowerment Point and how I've done it, it's gone exactly by my values, which is just really lucky. But if you write your values down first, when you meet someone, you know straight away whether that person is right for your community or not. And the one thing with a community, and you would know this too, Mike, because we're in a number of communities together as well, is that you're referring each other and you're advocating for each other. So, I don't do what Mike does. Mike doesn't do what I do. So, when I'm speaking to somebody and I know Mike is the right person and FreeFuse is the right person, I will straight away talk about Mike and how he's the right person, and I can connect them together. So write your values down and then go to different networking groups. And you'll find some will work for you, some won't work for you. There's a lot of value also in, don't discount the Zoom. I travel the world without a passport and I hardly leave home. So I think I go shopping and that's about it at the moment. So I've built an entire business from home, and I attend all my meetings by Zoom, all my networking meetings, but it's about building that relationship with somebody. So when I first talk to somebody, it's not straight into business. I could be talking about, where they are in the world, or something about where they are in the world, what the weather is. We could be talking about a number of things. I spoke to somebody a few weeks ago. For 45 minutes, we spoke about all other things and then went into talking business. I was talking to a woman who is living in Norway at the moment. And the first half an hour we were talking, she's been to Melbourne. So we were talking about the great coffee and food in Melbourne. Build that relationship, get to know the person, and then go into the business stuff is how we build those relationships. Now, when it comes to a membership, I had an open membership in the beginning. So there was a payment gateway there. People could just come on board. And then I decided to take that payment gateway away and to have people meet with me first. And the reason I did that is because I was scared I would get the wrong people in there, because the leading experts in there, they support each other, they mentor each other, they refer each other, they collaborate together. They're going to be co-creating. They're just amazing together. And I never want to ruin those dynamics. So if you want to have something more exclusive where you're actually the one in charge of making sure of who comes in there, then you can keep a dynamics which works and that everyone can get along. And for me, everyone in there has heart and soul. Everyone cares about each other as well as their own customers as well and their own clients, which is important. You may want a directory that's got everyone in there, and that's okay too. There is nothing wrong with that at all. I have networks or directories that are networking groups in my empowerment point that are open to anybody, and they work really well too. So what is it that you want to get out of it? What is your objective that you want to do, which is really important to look at? I hope that made sense.
No, it absolutely makes sense. And, I think that what a lot of folks, I feel like, don't maybe value as much, they go to some of these networking functions or they join a community, and what's their number one thing? My number one thing is to just go there, so get some business, pass out some business cards. It's a lack of relationship, right? And then they wonder why is it that I'm not, I feel like I'm not getting fulfilled. Well, number one, building a relationship will lead to better things overall, right? For example, I'm in another, one community as well, and one person started using, FreeFuse. Shout out Dennis Jackson. If you do listen to this, and he used our product, put it on his webpage. And from there, a bunch of people saw it, right? And from there, a bunch of people came in, that he referred them over to me. And there was like 9 or 10 leads, basically, of people already who just thought that this was an awesome product. And, that didn't just come from me saying, hey, Dennis, great to meet you. Here's my card. Let's go, talk, or hey, Dennis, let's have a coffee chat. It wasn't transactional. It was over time. We talked about things, and he also, needed some help on my end. How do I go and, sort of maybe market these services a different way? And I said, hey, you're doing Google ads. Those aren't working. Let's try this. And, I gave him a few recommendations, and that's part of the relationship. And, he's seen some amazing results, not just from, the use of our product, but also he's seen some amazing results just using those tools. And so I'm just, grateful for folks like that. But that doesn't happen if you're constantly transactional about it. And so I love what you said about that, and that we really need to focus on relationship.
You get so much more out of the relationship. As you said, you're getting referred, people are advocating for you, and you just never know where those relationships can go. The relationships I've built, I'm in awe of the people, they're including yourself, you're all amazing humans who are doing amazing things. And, you and I tend to pop up in different groups together as well, or doing different things together that we didn't even realize we would be doing in the beginning. So, you just never know where things may go. If you go in just for the transaction, that's a one-off. If you get the transaction, that's a one-off. But if you go into the relationship, then there are so many other things outside of that you can create and that can happen, that can bring in a lot more business for a lot longer as well, which is really important too.
And I would like to go kind of maybe rewind back for a second. And through this whole journey that you've had, right? Through this whole thing that you've done, I know right now you're in the process of doing a conference, right? You're doing a conference of some fantastic business professionals, leaders in their field, folks who, have some amazing talks, amazing stories, and just great insights that they're going to share with people. When you were first on this journey, did you ever actually think that you would accomplish that? Was that ever kind of like on the bingo card of Empowerment Point?
No, empowerment, the things that we've grown in Empowerment Point, a number of them are because the members have come to me and said, you need to do this. One of my members came up to me and said, oh my God, you've got amazing people in there who are speakers and, can do all these amazing, you need to do a conference. And I went, okay, let's do a conference. So all of our speakers are our members. We also do internal training because one of my members said, you've got all these amazing people, we need to do more training. And I went, okay, let's do more training. So with our training, everyone gets to self-develop each other, learn what each other does so they can refer each other, collaborate and co-create together as well. So it's got a few other functions too. So the things that are growing within Empowerment Point are because my members have come up to me saying, I'd really love to do that, or let's do that, or you can do this, or we can do that. Or let's do this together. And that's how it's grown. Someone said to me, where do you see Empowerment Point in 5 years? And I said, oh my God, I can't answer that. I didn't even think we'd be where we are now. Like, oh my God. So the only thing I can say is what I really want is anyone around the world to say, I'm looking for an expert in, and someone else to go, just go to Empowerment Point, you'll find the right person there. Or I'm looking for a networking, just go to Empowerment Point, you'll find the right person there. That's what I really want for it, because I want to make the journey easier for business owners. I've put up here, strategy, growth, freedom. If I can help business owners have the freedom to just live their life, to have their businesses in flow, to have their business gaps sealed, and to be growing their businesses, that's what it's all about. It's getting that freedom back into their business, and it has a domino effect. If your business is in flow and you're a lot happier, that has a domino effect on your family, on your employees, on their families. The domino effect is why I do this too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, pointing out those couple things that you do have on there, I know that you have the QR code actually for registering for, the Empowerment Point conference. If folks actually want to, maybe check this out, how might they get, connected on the Empowerment Point, conference? Should they just, scan the QR code on the screen, or, how might that actually work for them?
Yeah, two different ways. Either just scan the code and it'll take you straight to the conference page on empowermentpoint.com, and you will find we've got 19 amazing speakers. All of them are members of Empowerment Point. We have, it goes for 2 days on the 19th and 20th of May. And just to let you know that this is one of first, there's going to be more conferences as well. So if you're listening to this after May, still go to the QR code because you'll find the next conference that's there as well. This particular one goes from 9 a.m. till 5:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. So we've got 19 speakers. They're all part of Empowerment Point. They're all experts in their own areas, and they've all got meat with their stuff. Every single one of those speakers, you can walk away and already implement things into your business, and that's what's really important. So it's going to make the next half of the year even better for you because you've got that information. And also too, you can connect with any of those business experts on Empowerment Point. All their profiles are open. You can make a time with them. They've got calendar links as well, and they're always happy to help business owners too. So either go directly onto the QR code or just go to empowermentpoint.com. And if you scroll right down to the bottom, you'll see it in the events, and just click on the event, and it's free. This one is free, so you'll see the link there as well.
Awesome.
Come on down.
Absolutely. And we'll be sure for anyone who, for whatever reason, can't scan the QR code through the video, we'll have the link there for folks on LinkedIn and other places where we'll be sharing this episode as well. I think we've talked about going from figuring out the early days of a community, figuring out sort of who should be in it, kind of having that sort of filter. And now, understanding where you need to go and perhaps, what the major points of building that community are. What about when you've gotten all of that right? We've gotten that sort of level of alchemy together. And now it's really about maintaining, perhaps growing, and really engaging those folks who are in there. I know you have quite a few touch points that I'm also a part of as well. But what have you seen that allows you to have great success in continuing to engage with these folks, helping them either to engage with each other or to engage with them yourself in a way that's meaningful, that they feel like they're, supported, or at least that they feel like they're actually a part of something that, makes sense for them?
Okay, so you're talking about my members in here, my leading experts. So what I do, it's a few things, as you know. So one of the things that we do is I touch base with people. So therefore, I'm nurturing those relationships with these people. Someone said to me a while ago, soon you're not going to know who's in Empowerment Point. And I said, what do you mean? Well, you'll have thousands of people in there you won't know. And I went, no, that defeats my whole purpose. I will always know who is in there. So I like to make, and sometimes it takes a little while, but I like to make times to catch up with people, see how they're going, if there's anything that I can do for them as well. And that's one thing. The other one is we have our internal training, so we catch up then as well. We do have once a month, we have a Brains Trust meeting, which we had today. The Brains Trust meeting is who you are, why you do what you do, and what you do. And we've just added your successes as well, because we certainly, none of us celebrate our successes as much as we should. And then we talk about what we're stuck in our business. And everyone helps. It's amazing to watch everyone help each other, connect each other. It's just, I love watching it. I do not record that because it's a safe space for them to share and just be. And then we have a training at the end of that as well. I've also started a WhatsApp group for all of our members. And the WhatsApp group was given to me by someone overseas to utilize. It is a group where we can nurture each other. We can see each other more than once a month. We can talk to each other. It's all about sharing stuff. It's all about sharing things. You can collaborate. You can yell out. You can get support. The only thing you're not allowed to do in there is advertise. Only I'm allowed to advertise, which I advertise you guys anyway. But the reason is, if not, it just becomes an advertising platform, which I don't want it to be. I want it to be a nurturing platform. So they've been sharing songs, they've been sharing all sorts of stuff in there, getting to know each other, which is really quite lovely. So there's that. And I'm also putting a digital magazine together at the moment as well. So that'll be another touch point as well. And yeah, I've got to stop creating. I'm constantly creating things. I need to just finish things so they're in flow. But you need to have different touch points for them. If not, they feel like they're a member, but that's it. Like they don't realize that, you're there to support them. You're there to be there for them as well. And I'm also, in the last year, they've called me a super connector. So I connect people around the world. So when I talk to someone, I'll ask them too, is there anyone that I can connect them with too, or anything I can do for them as well? Because my role, I've realized, is to create avenues to get these business leaders out there to the world, as well as have business owners around the world find these people to make their business journey a lot easier.
Right. And, I very much value not having any kind of chat turn into a marketing free for all. I feel like sometimes I go into a networking group and it's like, hey, let me tell you, and you know what I've always noticed? It's like they copy and paste like a paragraph about themselves. And I'm like, that's lovely. TLDR, not going to read all that. There's like that meme.
I did add, tell us about who you are in your business. And then at the end of that, something about yourself that not many people know. And I think I'm one of the only ones who hasn't done that yet. So I need to put mine in there as well, because we only started this a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, you don't want it to be advertising, because then it's a turn off for people, but it doesn't build relationships and doesn't nurture relationships. That's why I did it, to nurture those relationships.
Yeah, I also didn't do it, so my bad.
But you need to do it as well. Okay, well, you and our task for this week is to do it.
All right, I'll make sure I'll get that done this time. My bad. But yeah, it's always so funny though, because I'll go to a networking group and it's kind of like, oversharing, right? Like you're kind of
Yeah.
like, I haven't even really met any of these people. And I have a paragraph. I have somebody's phone number, I have their email, I have their LinkedIn. I'm like, cool. What am I supposed to do with this? I don't like, and my favorite, my favorite thing is like when the description is always just like super long and you see and then at the very end of it it's like connect with me on LinkedIn and then there's like 40 of them that pop up in this Zoom chat and I'm just like great
It's
guys like and everyone's always like save the chat and I'm like well I wouldn't have to save the chat if I didn't have like literally 4 pages of information here of people I just met for the first time. But thank you everybody, I'll go ahead and take that wonderful advice.
I have some good tips and tricks on that.
Oh yeah, what do you got?
Okay, so first thing is, whatever networking meeting I'm in, I always have, and all of it's on Zoom at the moment anyway, I always have my phone open on LinkedIn. So if I'm meeting someone for the first time or I'm in a room with someone for the first time, I will add them on my LinkedIn. And there have been times that there's a number of people and I'm like, which one are you? So I'll send them a private chat message through Zoom saying, I can't find you on LinkedIn. Can you find me? Or I'll send them my LinkedIn link so they can actually link to me. I've also, my name, Debbie Small, there's a number of Debbie Smalls there. So I put myself as Debbie Small, the Empowerment Queen. It's really easy to find. So you make it easier for people to find you. Oh, another thing, when you're in a Zoom meeting, always put your surname. There's so many times we've been in a meeting and the person's got their first name and not their surname. How do we find you without your surname? Make sure to put your surname in there. And also too, when you do meet somebody for the first time, this is the trick that I use. When I was meeting people face to face for the first time, I would pick something about them. So for instance, I went to a function and it was a sporting, we had a lot of sporting people there. It was a business function, but the only person I knew was the organizer and I was there on my own. So I walked in, there was a guy standing there and he had these really great socks, like really colorful, different socks. So I went up to him and said, I love your socks. They're really different. So it's when you talk about somebody, they love talking about themselves. So you'll start to build that relationship that way. We talked for so long that when we turned around, practically everyone was gone. So always people love talking about themselves. So pick something about them to talk about, and that will start the conversation rolling. When I meet people for the first time on a Zoom meeting, on a one-to-one, apart from building that relationship, oh, what's the weather like there? Or, oh my God, I heard it's so beautiful there, or whatever it may be, because it's global. You can always one of the questions I will always ask is, why do you do what you do? Because when people talk about their why, you will always find out the what anyway. But the why is what connects you to them. The why is where you find out about their heart and soul and what they're really doing. And I find the connection with why is so much better and quicker to build that relationship together. And some people have just spent so long telling me about their why, which I love to hear because they're really getting into the story of why they do what they do. And all of you, as you know, Mike, on your profiles, I tell everybody to put your why in there because that is what connects emotively to other people. So on your LinkedIn, put your why. On your About Us, don't be just a company saying, we do X, Y, Z. Great. So do a lot of other people. But when you tell me your story on your About Us, it's when I turn around and go, oh my God, they get me. They understand me. Oh my God, I can't believe they've done this. And some of the stories that you read on the profiles of Empowerment Point, it's just like, wow. I had one guy ring me or send me a message, sorry, he's in the US. And he said, can you read my profile if I've written too much? And I messaged him back and went, oh my God, you are so inspirational. Oh my God. It was incredible. So, the little things like that, either ask something about themselves if you're face to face, or always ask them their why, their story. People love talking about themselves and it starts a conversation going and then it ends up being in free flow.
Yeah, and those are some fantastic points about connecting with people in a meaningful way. And then, the stories start with why, folks, might have been familiar with it, from the Simon Sinek work, or maybe they've, realized on their own and started,
but go on.
right? Yeah, but maybe they've found out that starting with why, or asking folks why about what, about the why they do what they do, is one of the most meaningful ways to connect with people. Because I think, to just kind of touch upon where we were at in the beginning, talking about purpose, that folds into all of that. It drives our actions, right? And I think that when folks are driven by a purpose that they can get behind, people can do some fantastic, meaningful things, that really can build them beyond where they even could have imagined they were going to go when they first started that endeavor.
100%. Entrepreneurs have two whys. The first why is usually quite altruistic. We want to make business owners' lives easier. We want to do this. It's usually an altruistic. The other one, and let me tell you, practically every business owner, every entrepreneur I know has this, to have the freedom to do what they want, when they want, how they want, and help who they want, when they want, how they want. And I haven't met an entrepreneur yet who's gone, no, that's not one of my whys. So, we've got two whys that we have.
Absolutely. And, I think that it's such a great thing to talk about, whether it's entrepreneurs or even some of the folks I've talked to on this show, hearing their why they do it, where they light up, that sort of the light behind the eyes, right? When you see you do this for a reason that is just meaningful and special to you. And it's kind of one of the things that I really love about what we do is we help people bring ideas, to life, and help them, sort of put some of those ideas to the screen of space, with whether they want to have a certain message out and how they want to talk to folks and make it a lot more personalized. Those are some of the things that I just really enjoy, getting what they feel like is their message out in a way that is effective for them, and then seeing all those interesting creative bits that they have. So, it's a real joy to see that creativity, that passion, and most importantly, that why behind what they do.
Mike, you also help give people their freedom back as well, because those videos to cut up take ages, and your program does it like this. So, you're giving people back their freedom of time to do other things, to spend with their family, to spend with their loved ones as well. So you're also doing that too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in fact, we've even found a new slant about having, folks who are actually, the customers of a person or prospects, rather than having to demo them all the time, or rather than having to always do, customer success meetings, which some folks don't even call those meetings with you. They just churn out of products and services. What we notice is a lot of people are actually structuring their content around allowing these people to self-direct themselves. And then if they still can't find the information, they can hop on a call at the end of one of the FreeFuse pathways. But all of that data and that feedback will allow them to build more robust experiences over time. So it's really that sort of entrepreneurial, iterative approach, being data-driven, and most importantly, just being empathetic to your customer, your user, whoever your audience is. And that to me is just such a pleasure, a joy, and a privilege to help folks keep building those experiences. So I know we're running to time here, and I know we've plugged the Empowerment Point conference and of course, empowermentpoint.com, but I did want to, have you share anything else that you wanted to promote, or anything that you'd kind of like to share as sort of, something that maybe perhaps we haven't talked about yet, and just kind of give you the floor for any, pieces of points that you want to talk about.
I think a couple of things is, one, don't be scared to try things, because if you don't try, the answer is always going to be no, and it's always 100% no that you don't get it done. But try things. If there's something you want to do, try it. And don't try to be perfect, because there is no such thing as perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. What I think is perfect today, you may not. What you think is perfect today, I may not. And what we both think is perfect today, in a week's time, we may think differently. And that's because we all have different experiences in our lives. So we think differently when it comes to what perfection is. So just go for it. People love authenticity. So if you're on a webinar and you make a mistake, just say it. I did a webinar last month, and just my computer crashed beforehand. Everything was going crazy. So I got on the webinar and I said, guys, just letting you know, it's my birthday today. Everything's going crazy. My computer crashed. So we're just going to go for it. I thought it was the worst webinar I'd done. There was a woman who left early, And then I saw afterwards on LinkedIn, she was introducing me to another woman overseas saying, I've just been to Debbie Small's webinar. It was fantastic. I think the two of you need to connect. So I think it was just me being real, saying, you know, this is stuffed up. This is what's happened. And just be yourself. People, that's what makes you different. That's what makes you unique. That's what makes your unique selling point is you are different to everybody else, and let that shine. Allow yourself to shine, and do what you love to do. I look at two things. One is, if I don't do something, am I going to regret it? If the answer is yes, my second question is, what's the worst thing that can happen? And if it's not that bad, you know, go for it, try it. Because there are so many things that I'm terrified of at the moment. I'm doing a conference. It's the first conference I've ever done. I'm terrified and excited all at the same time. But if I don't go forward and don't do it, I'm always going to wonder what if. And also, because we've done this conference, there's a woman from overseas who's come to me who does conferences, and we're now collaborating with her for our second conference. And she's helping us with our first. So you just never know who you're going to meet or where things lead to. So don't not try, you know, get out there. But also, if you need help with different things, you know, find the right person. At Empowerment Point, you know, you'll find Mike, you'll find, you know, other people as well who are experts in different areas who can help you with that too. But just let yourself shine, let yourself be. Don't be hard. We're the hardest people on ourselves. Stop being so hard on yourself and just enjoy the journey. It's not about the destination. The journey is going to be bumpy. There are times that you'll jump out of bed. There are times that, you know, you won't want to get out of bed. And, you know, that's okay. I spend a lot of Saturdays, because I talk a lot, especially during the week, I talk a lot, all hours, and I meet people at all hours of the night as well around the world. Saturday, I usually like to do nothing, like literally nothing. I'll sleep in, just sit on the couch in my PJs and do nothing. So, you know, allow yourself time to do nothing, or to read, or to, you know, spend time with your family, or do things like that as well. Give yourself that time, and make sure with what you're doing, you know, just have fun with it, and find those people to help you have fun with it too. And always ask for support. We're the worst people to ask for support. We're the best people to give support. We're the worst people to ask for it. Ask for support. That's what we do for each other. We help each other, we support each other, and we're there for each other.
And thank you for that wonderful message. I think a lot of people need to hear those things to be able to get over maybe some of the fears that might be allaying them from, you know, really awesome outcomes and really awesome journeys. And so I just want to say thank you so much, Deb, for being on, you know, today's FreeFuse Sessions. Such a
Mike,
fantastic conversation. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I've loved our conversation, but I always love our conversations. They're always a lot of fun. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, because you're making a real impact out there, and I'm loving seeing what you're doing as well. So thank you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. Well, as always, thank you so much for everybody else out there who took the time out of their day to join us and check out the show. We will see you next week. Thank you so much.